Hi, welcome back to Nails by Sora. So I had recorded this portion of the video already, but I didn't like the way it came out. It felt more like I was doing a reveal of all my products and whatnot, which wasn't the intention. This video is going to be about different ways, or two different ways that you can use dip powder if you're not actually doing a dip powder process anymore. If you're like me, you've collected a lot of product for however long that you've been doing your nails. And fortunately or unfortunately, I've gotten away from doing the dip process, but I still have all of my dip powders for the past 2 years almost. So I still want to use them, of course. I don't want to throw them away. I can't really sell them. So I'll show you the collection that I have right now. It takes up 3 drawers of my unit. And then I'm going to go into 2 different ways that you can use your dip powders if you don't want to dip anymore. So I'm going to flip the camera around. And this is the unit that I have. It's not an Alex unit, although it looks like it. It's a dupe from Amazon. Works the same way. The drawers aren't in as well as I would like them to be, but that's my own fault. But the top row, the top drawer is all my Sparkle & Co. colors, or most of them. I have larger jars, which I'm not exactly sure where they are at this point. I think some of them are in here in the rolly case. I don't know where the other ones went. I used to have them up on my racks, but they're not there. But anyway, I digress. So these are a mixture of mica powders, of flat colors, glitters and flakes and sparkles. Then in the second drawer down, I have different brands. This is Dip Nailed It, and then I have Florida, Miss Florida Nails. I have Double Dipped. I have Southern Posh and Vivid Nail Co. And then in the next drawer down, I have Diva, Diva and Dauphine, and Soul Dips and Dipwell. So I've got quite a few dip powders, as I've said, and I don't want to get rid of them, but I do want to find a way to use them. And I will probably still do some dip manicure videos. I do want to do one coming up in a couple of days for me, potentially like a couple of weeks of you. But I'm going to, excuse me, I've got something in my eye. I'm going to show you 2 ways that you can use your dip powders if you're not doing the dip process, but you still want to use your products. So I'm going to rewind to the videos that I already recorded. Thank you for clicking on this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you soon. So first I'm going to try a cross section of my various dip powders. I'm going to use this beautiful blue glitter from Vivid Glam Co. It's called Legit. Then I'm going to use a Sparkle & Co. called Paradise. I'm going to try Love at First Bite, which is very seasonably applicable because it's a Halloween color. And then I'm going to try It's a Wonderful Life, which is a pure glitter. So the glitter I will have to mix with, I'm going to actually pour some off into the cup because it's very full. I'm going to have to mix with clear, which I have over to my right. I'm going to start with Vivid Glam first, and you want to make sure, as with anything, that you mix up your colors first, because the powder tends to separate. Where did I put my, oh, there it is. Oh, crap. The powder tends to separate, so you want to make sure that everything is well combined. So just give it a little zhuzh. And the best thing to do before you waste any of your nails or try putting it on your nails, your own nails or a client's nails, is to swatch it on a paper towel. So that's what I'm going to do. Just going to pick up a normal bead. That didn't swatch well at all. Let's redo that. make sure you clean off your brush in between each color. So I'm going to move that aside and go on to the next one. So this one should set up pretty well because while it's glitter, it's suspended in clear dip powder. So once again, I'm going to fill my brush with monomer, dip it into the dip powder, and you can see right away that that one worked almost better than the first one. Now, I'm more nervous about the black than anything else because black is notoriously difficult no matter which way you use it. So we're going to see how this works. I also don't want to dirty my monomer. And that one seems to work pretty well as well. Now moving on to the glitter, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up the clear acrylic. It's not clear. That's right. I had mixed my clear with lavender, or with purple rather. I do not have any clear. It is in my kit for school. I do have clear. Okay, I have a jelly color by Dipwell. And it's a sparkle, but that's fine. So I'm just gonna mix, actually no. What I'm going to do is I'm going to dip my brush with the monomer into the jelly color. And then while it's still wet, I'm going to pick up the glitter. All right, so let's go through one by one and see how they're set. This one's still setting up. This one's harder already than the first one. And this one's still going, so we'll have to wait and see and give it a little bit more time. So it's been about 7 minutes. I believe that these are going to dry as much as they ever will. I will test it again in the morning when I come back, because it is about 1:30 right now, but you can see that this one is still quite pliable. It is not set up at all. I can still put my finger into it. For this one, I would definitely add some some clear acrylic powder, or you can add some more blue into it so that you keep the tonality. If you add in clear, it's going to shear it out and make it more like a jelly. But this one, the rest of them have set up beautifully. They are hard. They in fact peel off the back of the paper towel, and when you tap it, it clicks. This one does not. So these are perfect. You can definitely use them as acrylic powder. All right, everyone, I'm back. It's actually a few days later. I was going to continue this next morning, but things are a little crazy right now with my schedule. If you don't know, if you haven't seen one of my other videos, I unfortunately lost my job, so I'm kind of floundering and trying to get something going. I have a few things going on the side, so at least I have something going. But I did want to check back in with these acrylic swatches because this one over here hadn't set up in the 10 minutes that I left it while I was working. But even the next morning, it was considerably more firm and set up. My finger is not going into it at all, and while it is still a little bit more flexible than the other swatches, it still proves that it would work perfectly fine as an acrylic powder with monomer. I would still suggest that you mix a little bit of straight acrylic into it, clear, to give it a little bit more strength and stability. Also, you don't want to have to wait 24 hours for it to dry on your nail. But these 4 colors work beautifully. I'm not going to go through my collection and swatch everything. If there's something that I want to use at some point, I will go ahead and test it then. But it goes to show that dip powders can be used as acrylic powders if you do not dip anymore and you want to move on to using monomer or finding a different use for all the products that you've accumulated in however long since you started using dip powder. So the other way that you can use dip powder is you can create kind of like a poly gel. Make more like an acrygel. And that's basically using gel, clear gel, and mixing it in with the powder to create a paste that you then spread on your nail. So I'm going to get set up for that, and we're going to go into that process. All right, so I've chosen 3 different brands and 3 different colors. This one is Pearlecent by Double Dip. We've got Espresso by Miss Florida Nails, and Fairy Tale from Vivid Glam Co. So if you are going to make an acrygel out of dip powder and you're using a glitter, I would suggest going with something a little heavier, like a builder gel. If you're just going to be using regular dip powder, that's high concentration of acrylic and other powders, you can use a standard base coat because it's going to flow a little bit more easily. The builder gel is going to help encapsulate the glitters a little bit better. It's not going to move as easily on the nail, but it will set it up so that you don't have to build layers on top of it to further encapsulate it. So I'm going to use both. I'm not going to do both with each. I'm just going to choose one application for each product. So I think since Espresso is a really fine glitter, I'm going to use my base gel. I'm not going to go too heavy on it. You want to try to use enough that would cover all 5 nails, though I'm only going to do 1. I'm going to use, let's see, what am I going to use? I'm going to use this spatula that I got. I use it a lot. If you've been to my channel before, I use a lot for 3D gel work. And I will use this swatch stick just to scoop up some of the gel powder, dip powder. So you want to make sure, as always, that you give it a good stir without getting it all over the place like I just did. And add a little bit at a time so that you don't go too heavy and have to go back in and add more gel liquid, and then more powder, and then more gel liquid. So that's actually pretty good. I don't want it too thick, but I want good dispersion of the dip powder within, or suspension rather, of the dip powder within the gel. So then I'm going to choose, I should have worn gloves, but I was too lazy to go and get them because they are in my kitchen. Why are they in my kitchen? Because I dropped it off from school yesterday and I didn't bring it into my nail room. What am I looking for? A brush. So I am going to pick up my Madam Glam application brush, which is somewhere in here. I'm going to loosen it up with a little bit of gel, just because I haven't used it in a while. And then I'm going to paint it on just like I would any other gel polish. Now, since this obviously has the clear gel base and it's just a plain fine glitter, you're going to see the nail below it. So if you wanted more color, you can definitely start out with a brown base, or if you want to accent maybe a deep burgundy, that might look nice, or even a lighter brown. I think that would work quite well. All right, so I'm going to give that a cure, and then I'm going to go in and do a second layer. So I'll probably have to mix a little bit more. I'm going to do the same process as before. I'm going to dispense a little bit of gel out onto my palette. I'm going to go a little bit heavier this time with the powder. And you can see that application is already a lot thicker. Same process, second layer, going in and just laying it in, brushing it down the nail from the cuticle line to the free edge. And do another cure, top coat, and then we'll move on to the next nail. So I did go and put a base coat on first just so that I can encapsulate those glitters a little bit. And now I'm going to finish off with the top coat. Make sure as always that you cap your edges. I do need to file off this little piece of gel. These are full coverage nail tips. And sometimes there's a little piece of plastic that's stuck to the free edge from their manufacturing. Smooth that out a little bit more and put it in for 60 seconds. While that's curing, we're going to go on to the next nail. I'm going to move these out of the way because I'm going to be working with the builder gel. So this is DGel, and it's clear gel in a pump. You just push this down and it dispenses rather a good amount of gel. So I'm going to take that and put it on the palette. Still have a little bit of glitter in my brush, but that's okay for this application, or this project rather. Okay, so I'm going to move on to Vivid Glam Co. and Fairy Tale. So same process as before. Just going to take, and this has foils and glitter in it, which I remember it having the foils. So that's another reason why you should have a little bit more of a thicker consistency in gel to do this. So I'm going to take, actually I'm not going to take that big piece because it's not going to mix in too well. I'm going to take some of these smaller flakes. All right. And then I'm going to use my spatula once again to mix it all in. You can tell already it's a lot thicker with the thickness of the gel. So I'm going to take a little bit more gel just so that it can make it a little bit more malleable. And same as before, we're just going to paint it on. So you can see already that this is a lot thicker. It's going to take a little bit more to get it to move across the nail. But that also means that likely we'll only have to do one layer. Okay, so I'm just going to try to level this out. Make sure you turn it sideways so that you can look at the apex. Make sure it's even. It will be potentially a little lumpy just because of the flakes and the mylar. but we will encapsulate that after we cure this layer. I'm not going to go in with a second layer. This is quite thick all on its own. Got very nice coverage, and I'm just going to make sure that I have even coverage from sidewall to sidewall and free edge to cuticle, which it's actually pretty good. Pop that in the lamp to cure, and then we'll encapsulate and top coat. So to encapsulate, I'm just going to use, I'm not going to use the thicker builder gel because I don't want to build it up too thick. I'm just going to go in with a very nice coat of my regular base gel. Make sure that fill in all those nooks and crannies. That way when we put on the top coat, we don't have to build that up too high. So there's a little bit of unevenness and lumpiness because of the appearance of the glitter. So I just wanted to go in and rough it up a bit, smooth it out. So now I'm going to go in with a very thin layer of top coat just to seal it in again, and that's going to finish off this nail. All right, so moving on to the final nail. This one is double dipped Pearlecent. And it is somewhat of a fine glitter. You've got fine glitters mixed in with some small hex glitters. So I'm going to go back to the base coat. And this time I think I'm going to put a base coat of a color on the nail to really make the glitter pop. Okay. So what color should we do? Should we do a peach or should we do a white? I think maybe a light pink. That's viola. It's amazing how at this point I know what the color names are just by looking at it. Or do we want to do a pearlescent? Yes, I can. Yes, I can. I wanted something with a little bit more opacity. Getting a light, lint-free wipe, just so I can wipe that down. Okay, instead I'm going to do prime.
Out of sand, reaching for the grand. As willows align, we lose track of time.
So we've got our nail primed with prime. We've got our glitter. Gonna give it a little mixy mix. And then I'm going to put some onto the gel on the palette.
Beyond gravel, beyond dawn. A bigger scale the world inhales as we go. I wouldn't want it any other way, no. Dreamy, breezy, we go.
I am going to switch to my liner brush just so that I can get out some of these brown flecks from the Java Espresso, because they're stuck to the brush and I don't want them in this manicure. And then I'm just going to slightly guide some of the gel a little bit flatter.
We let go of disguise. And now
I'm just filling in some patches. And then I'm going to give it a full 60-second cure. So there you have it. 2 ways that you can still use your dip powders if you're no longer doing the dip process. Now, of course, it bears mentioning that you can still use your dip powders if you've switched over to gel and you're just no longer using dip liquids. Same process. I am thinking about putting together a video after this detailing how you do the dip process with gel liquid. So let me know down in the comments below if that's something that you would like to see. But either using monomer or just mixing in the powders with your gel liquids, you can certainly still create beautiful manicures with the dip powders that you have without feeling like they're sitting collecting dust or trying to figure out a way to give them away. If you like this video, please give me a like and a subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you always know when new videos are available. If you have any comments or questions, please put them down in the comment section below, and all the information for the products I used will be in the description box below. I hope everyone is doing well and enjoying the slow slide into the holiday season, and I will see you soon.